Hello, my people. Welcome to the KAPE channel and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm just going to be going live today talking about Mikel Arteta, talking about Arsenal fans, their opinions of him, and just a few talking points. Just want to make an interactive session. So if you're new, you're returning, or you haven't already, just hit the like button as you come into this. Smash the subscribe button to my channel, and then drop a comment in the chat. Obviously, appreciate Waffle done already jumping in probably before I jumped on live saying I'm going live, and obviously AFC always shout you out. Obviously, everyone follow what he says, like as you enter, and subscribe if you haven't already, of course, because that's what we need on this channel. So I appreciate the love. Obviously, I'm back from holiday. I went to holiday with my missus. Obviously, you can see looking very, very melanated. That's all I'm gonna say. Looking clean, so I can't complain. Obviously, got a lot of sun out there, but yeah. So international break, I'm gonna try to do a couple of these lives, of course. Try to be a bit more interactive on my channel. So yes, please get involved if you can and drop your comments. But yeah, so I just want to talk about Mikel Arteta today. Obviously, Arsenal stand top of the Premier League right now, only by 1 point, and there is no title race or anything like that has started yet. Whether you use that as a means for confidence or you use that as a means to gloat, like however you want to go about it. But obviously, 7 games in, there's still 31 games left. There's a lot of the season to go by. So I'm not going to get carried away by that. But at the same time, Arsenal had a busy summer. We had to sign 8 players. A lot of players that have come into our first team. We've had a lot of injuries as the season's gone by, and we stand at 5 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss in the Premier League. And obviously, that coming against 2 of our rivals in the title race. And obviously, in all other competitions, we've won each game with a clean sheet. Funny enough, each game 2-0 as well. So we started the season well. Obviously, it's not necessarily been the cleanest. Obviously, at the beginning of the season, some of the performances are a bit, let's say, not uninspiring, to say the least, and obviously some of the lineups, but I think we still handled the job, like 5-0 against Leeds, 3-0 against Nottingham Forest, getting that 1-0 win against United, and albeit obviously a tough game, but we still played well, in my opinion. You're looking at the wins again. West Ham just recently, the Man City game was the one that was a bit frustrating because of the lineup, of course, him playing Marino, and I think from that moment, obviously, Mikel has kind of opted to change, I guess, the approach. The whole handbrake narrative and all that kind of stuff has been kind of been void in terms of since that game, because obviously you saw the Newcastle game, the lineup that you went with. You saw obviously in the Bilbao game, and sorry, not Bilbao, sorry, the Olympiacos game, and then obviously again against West Ham. And what was interesting was there was a quote that Mikel said after the Man City game in his press conference. Obviously, I just wanted to bring that up and talk about that quickly. Mikel said, and if you read with me, as you can see on screen, he said that I was a bit surprised by it. I think this was when he was being asked about the handbrake. He says, how can you dominate against such a team with a handbrake? Dominance and handbrakes, they're 2 different words, but I accept everything. I was just a bit surprised by it. When I saw everything and watching it back with all the stats, I was surprised. But I respect everyone's opinion. If I can see and learn something that I haven't seen, I'm more than happy to do so. That's never an issue. And I think I like what he says there, in my opinion. I like what he's come to. My apologies. I like what he's done there, because in my opinion, you saw in the Newcastle game, he's changed up the lineup. He's put what's it called? He's put, my apologies for that malfunction. You saw that I was bugging out there, my bad. But he's put Eze in the 10, and he started that with Odegaard against Newcastle. Not Newcastle, against West Ham. And against Newcastle, he started Eze in the 10 instead of Marino. In the midweek against Port Vale, albeit obviously less opposition, he did start Wanyeri and Eze in the 10. And I think you've seen a shift in our football. I think you've seen a shift in how we play. Obviously, when you start more attacking players, you're going to have a bit more attacking emphasis, and you're going to see a bit more attacking football. And I feel like we've seen more riskier football. Obviously, as you enter the stream, drop a like if you can, and also you drop a comment if you want to ask a question or you want to say anything. I will read your comments out on screen. But as I was saying, Mikel has made those changes, and you've seen a shift in the football. Obviously, our defensive solidity is always going to be something, and I think we've consistently shown that for the last 3 seasons, in my opinion, that we're the best team potentially in the world at defending and having defensive shape and not conceding chances, squeezing teams, playing football in the opposition's half. Obviously, that was all to show against West Ham, and the way that we are able to dominate games, the way that we're able to squeeze games is a credit to the manager, and it's not something that's easy to do. I think because we've got so used to it, I'm not saying that fans don't appreciate it or fans don't see it as something that is a credit to us, but I think sometimes you have to realize, think about where we came from and what Arsenal were. Like, obviously we all want to win majors, and I do expect us to win the Premier League this season. I do expect us to win a major trophy this season. I hope that we do. The expectations on us, and I feel like that is on the manager as well. But I feel like we have the squad to do it, and I feel like we have the players to do it. We have the cohesion to do it, the experience in terms of getting so close, both in Premier League and Champions League, and not winning. I feel like the team can do it, and I feel like the defensive solidity is always the backdrop that people have to realize that separates us to the other teams that we're going against in the league. Like, we can always trust on the fact that we won't concede that many chances. But then obviously there's pressure on the attacking players, there's pressure on the manager to try and, find a way to score and find a way to create and open up a game and open up teams, because we're going to dominate so much, which allows us to even dominate. Like, for example, against West Ham, we scored early. We had a lot of chances. The Eze chance that he scored over, that he shot over, the Calafiori chance that came from some good play that hit the post. These chances go in. That's 3-0 at halftime. We probably we have 3 more chances in the second half, and it was a 5-0 game. But 2-0, we coasted. We controlled the game, and it's a privilege. The reason why I say this, because in the 22-23 season, as much as that was the best season in terms of as a fan, because we didn't have the expectancy of us actually challenging for a title, we didn't know that we were going to play football that we were playing, which was scintillating. Let's just call it that. And the problem that was always in that season is that there was many games where we'll blitz teams at first half, and then we don't know how to control a game in the second half, and pass the way out and not force things and not kind of keep games as a basketball game, because you don't have controls, or you don't have a control of a basketball game. Like, basketball game is open spaces, is end to end, and that's about if players can hold their nerve in the box, and that's entertaining, but it's not sustainable, especially when you're winning. And it used to be something that I used to get so angry that I'm like, we can't control games. Like, we're blitzing teams, we come out firing, pressing, playing good football, scoring goals early, and then second half now we're conceding a goal or two, and then we're having to hang on, and the other team has possession of the ball, but we're not too sure. We're having to try and force a third goal, and sometimes we might win, but sometimes we might draw. And then towards the end of the season, we couldn't control games. And I feel like we've got to that stage now where we can, and we've been like that for the last 3 seasons, let's say. And that's a credit to the manager again. Like, we built the squad, and obviously, yes, money's been spent, and he's been there for a long time, and there's an expectancy that we need to win, because we're Arsenal, we're the Arsenal, and that's a given. But I think people discredit the guy that we have, because when we do win, it's not like, obviously I can't speak for the masses in it, but I personally feel like I wouldn't want him to ever leave, because I feel like the way that we've grown as a club, in terms of we've refreshed the outlook of the club. We used to be a joke. Let's just call a spade a spade. We were a joke. Like, we had good attacking players, in my opinion. I think personalities that I really liked, your Ozils, your Aubameyangs, your Lacazettes, Alexis Sanchez's. Like, do you know what I mean? We have great players, and obviously young players coming up. But then we had a joke of the defense and a joke of reputation when we're going away to the lower end teams that are a bit more physical, a bit more long ball, a bit more, corners and set pieces that I guess that we're part of now, couldn't handle it. When we're facing the big teams, it was a given loss. We go to Anfield, Etihad, Old Trafford, Stamford Bridge, you name it, loss. Go to Spurs away, loss. Like, we face City at home, Liverpool at home, more than likely a loss. Like, yes, we may beat your Man United, just your Chelsea's at home, here and there, but do you know what I mean? That's not sustainable. We had players that don't know how to defend, making constant mistakes, that are not consistent in their performance, that don't pose any fear or respect from any opponents or anything, and they're not just like the players that you want to get behind and support. You got rid of that. You had to refresh that. We had to let players go for free, and obviously that's not just on Mikel, that's on the whole club. Let players go for free. We had to bring up young players from the academy, grow them up in the Arsenal way. We had to buy smart buys, your Ben Whites and your Salibas early at a good price, and build up the squad properly, Gabriel's. And in the end, we've got to a stage, in my opinion, over the years where we have such a solid squad with a group of players that are coming into just that age before their prime, all playing well, all giving their all for the club. All players that there's not that many players, if not any players, that any fans really don't like in this club. Obviously, people have their agendas and might not like this player or might not like this style, but there's no like player that you're like, oh, this player is complete crap or this player is complete nonsense or anything like that. And this is a credit to what we have, and it's a long time. And then the big thing is that now these players are signing renewals, and difference to even a couple of years ago when you had your Sakas, when you had your Salibas, your Gabriels that were signing deals, it was 4-year deals or sometimes 3+1. Now we're getting 5-year deals. Obviously they're going to be on good wages, of course, but you're seeing in their interviews and their press conferences when they're signing these deals in the notes, they're talking about how they want to play for the manager, that they want to grow in this club, they want to win trophies, of course, and that's always going to be the emphasis. But everyone always resorts back to the manager. You see how complimentary other managers are of Mikel, of our team. You see how other players are. You see the respect he has from the wider view when it's not, the toxic nature of social media. I'm not saying that he's not worth his criticism. There's times he gets it wrong. The whole Marino, Zubamendi, Rice line, I don't like it. Sometimes we play a bit too reserved. I don't like it sometimes, especially last season. Some of the football was disappointing. Sometimes in his press conferences, he can be a bit feisty, a bit, defensive, a bit, trying to outsmart everyone. And obviously, you can't always believe what managers say, because press conferences are always not just for replying back to journalists, it's for mind games with the players, other managers, etc., etc. This guy says he doesn't see social media. He sees everything that has been said, because I've seen him quote it. So I'm not saying he's not without his faults. And I'm not saying he's not without his criticism. I'm not saying he's not without, if he doesn't win this season, that fans are not right to want him out. That's not anything like that I'm here to say. I'm just saying, whilst he's here, you have to kind of think about things. Like, that's why I say criticism has to come constructively. Like, you can't just barrage on. That's why you see when Arsenal are winning, you see a lot of these Arteta routers and people that, that don't like him, they're very quiet. Obviously, they're focused on other things, maybe a player that they don't like, and if he's not performing, or maybe a certain thing like, oh, if this guy is not starting or playing, what happens then? Do you know what I mean? It shifts, and obviously, when we might lose or have a performance that's not good enough, or we lose or drop points or whatever, you see everyone come with the barrage on that. But I'm not saying that you can't criticize the manager. I'm just saying put things into perspective. Arsenal are a serious club now, that if we win the Champions League or win a Premier League this year, it's not a fluke. It's not out of the blue. It's not like where if we go again next season, you're not going to expect us to do it again or potentially compete again. Like, it's not a one and done situation. It's a long time coming. It's a thing where we could have won the Premier League 2 seasons ago on the final days of one. It's a situation that if we had a fit team maybe last season, we could have beat a PSG. Maybe we could have got Champions League. Maybes. I'm not talking about maybes anymore. I'm just saying, think about things. Like, if we win this season, yeah, obviously other people, rivals, the media will say, oh, Arsenal had the best squad, we have the best depth, it's expected 5 years in, they should have won it, they're expected to win it, etc., 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 which I think obviously some BS, because everyone at the beginning of the season put Liverpool as favourites. Everyone at the season said Liverpool spent the money they spent, brought the players that they brought that are world-class players, and even though they're not performing at the level that they should be, like, they'll come good. So if Arsenal do win, if Arsenal even win well in terms of the league, people shouldn't come and kind of try and underestimate it, because I think if you look at the league this season, you look at the Premier League standings, you look at the points difference right now, 7 games in, there's only about 3-4 points between first and about 7th, meaning that if any of us lose, you could have a team like Spurs or Bournemouth or maybe even Chelsea that go, not Chelsea, but you know what I'm saying, Chelsea, City, that end up going to the top of the league. And that's just how the season's going to go. But at the end of the day, I think Arsenal have the best squad, are the most consistent squad. I think we have a level of cohesion, brotherhood within that squad, within this team, within like everyone, that people outside might find cringe, and maybe even people inside might find cringe. But I love it, because you can see that it happens on the pitch. We have a consistency level where now we actually have had injuries to Saliba this season, injuries to Saka, constant injuries to Odegaard. Ben White has been out. Hence, we haven't even seen our new signing in Sapie because he's been injured. Madueke started, he's been out now. and the level don't drop. We've managed to go through these first 6-7 games that when the fixture list came out in the summer, we were all like, and at that time, obviously, we hadn't done all the business we wanted to do, so fans were kind of getting a bit pressured. You saw Liverpool had already bought Verts, City had done a lot of their business as well, and obviously fans were getting a bit pressured, and obviously media putting pressure on us, saying obviously Arsenal make or break in these 6 games. Now, on top of the league, obviously bookies and obviously other narratives are saying that we're favourites. Whether we're favourites or you think we're favourites or we're not favourites, I expect us to win the league, and I think we can, because I feel like we're set. I feel like the attack is finally balanced now, and I feel like it's only going to get better. Yes, there's criticisms of Gyökeres because he hasn't scored enough goals yet, and sometimes some of his performances aren't good enough. But I think also he's brought a lot to the team, and I think as he eases in, and it's difficult for him because he doesn't have a Kai Havertz or a Jesus fit right now to kind of allow him to rotate, allow him to rest. Like, he's played every single game. Sometimes he's playing 90 minutes, and obviously this is the back of not having a preseason, which is not an excuse because he's scored goals, and I think that he's had good performances and he's got better in each game, in my opinion, so far. And this is a guy that you can go back to my channel. I didn't necessarily want. I wanted Sesko, I wanted an Isak. I wasn't sold in this Gyökeres train because of the non-goal stuff. But I feel like I can see a player improving, and you see what Zubimendi brings. How I feel like he is an upgrade on Partey, Jorginho. You see what Madueke, how effective that signing is, and obviously, yes, he's out now, and Saka's back, and he looks back to himself, and it's good. But what Madueke's done, whenever all the fans wasn't there, the manager backed him. The manager knew what he brought him in, and most of us have fallen in love with how relentless his 1v1 ability is. Eze coming in, the grace he's playing, the fact that he's playing in the 10 now. Started off from the left winger. Maybe it's bad situation and circumstance because Odegaard is out, but he's there and he's been used in that situation. You can see him growing. You see Calafiori having a run of fitness. Obviously, unlike last season where he was a bit stop. Obviously, he's keeper with Lewis Kelly, who's an amazing player, someone that I advocated for out of the team. But this is the squad that we have, strength that we have, that we finally built, and that we're confident in. And obviously, a lot of us have the expectancy that we should go on to win. But I think we are. And I put it on and I put my chest out there. I feel like we're going to win this league, and I feel like we might not even drop to second if all games are played equally, because of in terms of, like, say everyone's played 8 games. I think we'll stay first. I feel like the next run of games that we have coming up in the league obviously are favourable to the next international break after this one. Obviously, fingers crossed nobody comes out injured from this international break. That's all I hope for, and I'm not going to watch it too attentively. Obviously, people get formed by getting goals and assists, obviously similar to the last one. Great. But all I need is people back fit. Obviously, the players that are injured, your Havertz's, your Madueke's, Hinsapié's, are they going to get a bit more positive news? Because obviously, it will be nice to see Hinsapié play. We'll see what he offers as well. Obviously, see Havertz come back as well, and he looked a different player for me in preseason. Looked stronger, looked sharper. And obviously, having that competition where you're not now, he's not going to come in and walk back and start lineup. I think we'll push him. Like, it's done for Martinelli. So I think people have to put things in perspective. Like, if we win the Premier League now, you could argue a guy that's come in, first job, but yes, he had the experience under Pep Guardiola. First job in terms of not having any CV, any real history, any real credit, has completely turned around one of the biggest clubs for me in the world that was in a pigsty, like in the mud, like was perceived mad, couldn't attract the best players, was overplaying players that weren't performing well enough, couldn't really produce from the academy and display those stars and players that you have through that, bar back Bukayo Saka, wasn't selling well, wasn't employing well in terms of buyers like your Timbers for 35 million, snaps there, your Mosqueras, your Salibas that came in at that cheap price at the time, Gabriel's 26 million, for example. Like, bringing in a Lewis Kelly, converting a DM and an 8 that I think long term will play there into a left back that looks like one of the best left backs, bringing in an Eze into the team, someone that looks and dies for the team, like reviving a Martinelli, entrusting a Trossard, making Saka the best player one of the best players in his position, to me, one of the best players in the league. Like, I respect the manager, and end of the day, there's pressure on him. He's got to win, and he's got to capitalize both the major trophies, Champions League, Premier League, and obviously the FA Cups and Carabao Cups, which I think we have the squad in terms of when we rotate to kind of still maintain our level, which we've seen now. So I'm more confident in those competitions because we don't have to now play a Saka and, Odegaard or a Saliba, Gabriel in all these games now, because we can play a Norgard, you can play a Madueke when fit, or Darman, you can play a Wanyeri, you can play a Mascara, a Hinsapié when he's fit. And this is good, a Ben White. Like, this is what we needed. Like, I think it's understandable through the years where Mikel had players, and it's players that you signed, your Vieiras, your Lokongas, like players that you thought maybe that you could kind of grow into our way, like good buys that didn't work. And these were the depth options that we had on our team that just wasn't good enough. Like there wasn't of the level like to the first team, and which is why we had to overplay players, in my opinion, and which is why a lot of players got injuries. And obviously, it's funny me saying it now because a lot of players have got injuries now, but some of these are kind of freak injuries and stuff which can happen. But I don't think they're down to fatigue or overplay, because I think it is, if we're probably looking at the minutes, a lot of players are balanced. Like I think when maybe because I see Arsenal, like everyone is always against Arsenal. When we were in the mud, everyone wanted to laugh at us. That's when AFTV was banging, because everyone wanted to see Arsenal stressed. Do you know what I mean? When we lose a game now, even as we're better than most of these teams that try to banter us, everyone's padding us because they know Arsenal fans get rattled. We're very emotional. We love our club, but some of us just lose perspective. Like, I'm not saying that you can't have criticism, but I would love if we were a United fan base where we're against everyone. Not United, but a United fan base where it's us against everyone. Like, I think that's the way that will be the final spark to take us over the level where it's just us, like where everyone just says, do you know what? Yeah, we all want to win. I have my criticisms, I have my doubts, but I'm going to support, I'm going to cheer, and I'm going to believe, because everyone else wants to put us down. Everyone else can't wait till we don't win, or can't wait to make their narratives. And maybe I don't like the manager, but I want to win more than me not liking the manager or proving that the manager isn't good enough for us. Do you know what I mean? And that's all I want to say. Obviously, as you're coming in, drop a like to this video, drop a comment on anything you're saying or anything you think I'm saying, anything you want me to talk about, or any questions, say it. KAPE has paused the channel, you already know. I'm on the one to go to 2,000 subs, so I'll be doing a lot more of these. But yeah, man, I just want to talk about obviously how, like, what this is, because I find it very interesting. Funny enough, like obviously when you're looking at the Premier League table from last season, obviously we have less points, and obviously we were unbeaten at this point. I think we had 5 wins, 2 draws, and 0 losses. Obviously different now. We were 5-1 and 1. And obviously at that point Liverpool were at the top. I think they had 6-0-1, if I'm correct, and City were also above us with 5-1-1. So it's funny how it changes. This is why I don't look into the tables too much right now. But I just want us to be consistent, because we're 2 wins on the bounce now against Newcastle and West Ham. And obviously, if I bring up our fixtures coming up, obviously for the next like few games in the Premier League, it will be interesting to see like where, like how many points I feel like we're gonna get. And obviously I will talk a bit more in depth for this, but I feel like just to kind of overview and kind of look at what I feel like we can do in this league, I feel like it would be interesting for me to show it and then just get a quick overview. Because yeah, so just looking here as it's on the screen, okay, so we got Fulham. This is in October. We got Fulham away, and then we got Crystal Palace. 2 games that I think we can win. Fulham, we drew there last season. Obviously, you had that last-minute goal that was just ruled offside closely because of Martinelli's run. And then obviously you got Crystal Palace, who we also drew. I was at that game, funny enough, last season live, and I was disappointed. Obviously, the Mateta goal when he lobbed Raya, and just obviously at that point we had nothing to play for in the league, but it was a bit disappointing. And you're looking at just keep dropping a like as you jump into the live. Looking at the rest of the games now as we move to November. So we got Burnley away, should be winning that game. Sunderland away, should be winning that game. Spurs, and obviously that will be for the international break. And then obviously we have the Spurs game right off the back of that international break, and then Chelsea, which obviously you have a bit of a run. So we have 4 Premier League games for the next international break, where I believe we should be winning. Like, in my opinion, I feel like we should be winning this game, like, and we should be getting maximum points. And I feel like we should be like going on a run that will make it 6 on 6. And I feel like that's my expectancy: 6 games in the bounce, 6 wins in a row, and continuously putting that pressure on Liverpool, putting that pressure on City, putting that pressure on any other team that's in the title race right now that's consistent, obviously, because they're gonna be, not a title race, but challenging for the top spots. And that's what it is. You said big up Waffled on. Obviously, go subscribe to this channel. Obviously, me and him have been doing a weekly show every Wednesday on his channel. Obviously, I may start streaming it on my channel as well. But go subscribe. Great Arsenal content, great lives, great person as well. Camera moving Buki. What do you mean? Like can't see, very sharp, or like let me know. Hopefully that's not been for the whole live in it, but we'll see. But yeah, man, it's interesting. It's blurry, yeah. Okay, cool. Let me see if I can sort that out. 1 second. Okay, cool. Let me know if it's still blurry. But if it's been like that all stream, I apologize, guys. Obviously, on my end, it's 4K, but do you know what I mean? Maybe it's my Wi-Fi right now, so I apologize. But I appreciate everyone that's jumped into this live. Obviously, that's commented by low. Obviously, what's your thoughts? Let me get some of your thoughts. Like, what's your opinions on the manager? What's your opinions on the narratives of the manager? Obviously, I'll start off with them. Like, what do you think on what I said? Like, do you feel like people need to give him a bit more credit? Not because I'm saying that he hasn't won, but like for the turnaround of the club, for where we're at right now, the fact that we all have chess with our club, the fact that we see how big we are now. Everyone's bought their Arsenal shirts back. Look at the merchandise we're dropping in. People are trying to buy it now. The players that we have, we really like. We have a lot of quality players. We're retaining our best stars. We're expecting to win in challenge for the real majors and feel like we have one of the best squads in the league. Like, fam, obviously, I'm not saying that's all on the manager, but I'm saying, like, what credit do you give there? That, like, as if we now turn that into a win, it's like the perfect synergy. It's not like a Leicester season. It's not even like a, with all due respect to Liverpool, like a one maybe and done. I feel like if Arsenal get their one and have that experience and know how, I feel like we can start maybe a potential dynasty. So what's your opinions? Obviously, apologize for the blurry camera. If you guys can see, man, I'm a bit blurry somehow, some way. My camera is not doing its thing today, but we'll sort that out for sure. Before we wrap up before this, but yeah, just continue to drop a like if you tune into this live. Continue to subscribe to my channel. Obviously, I drop a lot of good Arsenal content. Obviously, this international break, I'll be trying to be consistent everyday posts for you guys. So we'll see what we do, mixes of lives and pre-recorders as well. So we'll see how it goes. Ruffle Dunn has said he believes the manager should be judged at the end of the season, which obviously, knowing my bro, he's a guy that likes to get a good sample size of things before he likes to make full judgments, which is I think one of the best ways to do. Like, it's not good to just kind of go where game to game react to things. Good to kind of get a good sample size, and I guess for something like that he should be judged. But I would love to see, and I'm really interested and intrigued that if we do, and what the narrative, both from like the mainstream media, but then from like Arsenal fans as a whole, is about the manager, is about just what people thought about him. Obviously, there will still always be criticisms and dislikes. He doesn't just snap like that. But where he's now been the one that maybe has made us win the major, whether that's a Champions League or Premier League, I wonder what people say. But yeah, shout out AFC always as well. Obviously, as you said, like as you enter, subscribe if you haven't already, of course. Anyone else have any opinions about Mikel Arteta before we close this? Obviously, 30 minutes in. I'd like to keep this live nice and short. Obviously, maybe I'll do one tomorrow as well. A bit more of a different topic as well. Maybe a rankings thing. So we'll see. But I think ultimately, I just hope Arsenal win the league this year. But I expect us to. But I expect the football to get better. And I feel like when players like Jesus and Havertz come back, I feel like we'll see the level go up. And it's not to discredit Gyökeres, it's just more because of the optionality, more of the different profiles, more of the different ways we can play with, especially with the players that we have, Zubameni, Eze, and Wanyeri, for example, Hinsapie, Timber, Calafiori. So that's what I have to do. Obviously, I'm going to leave it here, guys, and end it here. I really appreciate everyone that's tuning into this live, everyone that's still tuning in. Drop a like to my channel, comment down below on this video, and I will be going live tomorrow as well, so I'll schedule that in. It will be an interesting topic as well that we'll go through, hopefully together. So yes, it's been your boy KAPE as Pauser. Subscribe to the KAPE as Pauser channel. Check out a lot of my content that I have on my channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace, love, and happiness, and enjoy the rest of your day, because it's an early one today, so hopefully the day's not too bad.